Hi. Do you have the perfect plan for getting your project started, but mysteriously you're not starting it? If yes, then this live stream might be for you because it might actually be the rigidity of your plan that is holding you back and sabotaging you. So today I want to talk about why rigidity sets us up to fail, on why we cling to rigidity to give safety, and what to do instead. And this is just a very casual live stream as I'm actually doing my makeup and doing my nails. And yeah, so settle in whether you're here live or watching it in the replay, and let's chat. So let me just get started. I do have some notes. Um, I mean, let's just start with rigidity maybe, or let's start with why the hell am I doing this as a live stream when I'm not even done, like when I haven't even done my makeup. So this is actually pretty interesting because let me just start. And this is not like a traditional get ready with me. I'm not going to tell you what products I use because I don't think you care. This is just literally there is a point to this. So rigidity, or rather, why am I doing this live? So I had a plan for today, namely that I was going to get up early because it's getting pretty hot here where I live in Germany. So it's gonna be like this week, it's supposed to hit almost 40 degrees Celsius, which is insane. I live in northern Germany, which is super humid. So I decided to get up earlier so I could actually get a workout in because I haven't been able to work out in a few weeks due to the heat because I do suffer from chronic migraines. So I would just, get migraines and then in the evening I wouldn't be able to work out. So yesterday I was like, why don't I just get up early, get up at 7 a.m. so I can get my workout in before it gets too hot. Then I can film in peace, I can do my makeup, I can do my nails, do some other stuff, and then in the evening I can go to yoga. Yeah, okay. I got up at 7:45, so not too bad. But my plan was a little off, right? I decided not to let that bother me. Stick to my plan, meditate, journal, work out. And I did work out eventually. I mean, I finished working out at 11 a.m. as opposed to 9 a.m. And then I realized, damn, okay, if I want to film video today and I want to go to yoga and I want to do my nails, then the schedule is pretty tight, right? And so at first I was debating with myself, oh, maybe today I shouldn't film a video. And that is when I called myself, because not filming a video today would mean that I'm avoiding the one thing I've promised myself to do every single day, filming so I can get more comfortable with filming. So let me remember that I'm actually supposed to be getting ready right now, as opposed to just chatting with you. So I realized that if I stick to this plan of first getting ready, doing my nails, blah blah, then filming, then yoga, then I'm in risk of actually missing my window to film. I decided that's not, we're not doing that. I'm not letting myself talk myself out of that. So, what to do instead? I decided to do this. I decided to actually do like a get ready with me live stream. So then I wouldn't have to worry about setting everything up perfectly. I wouldn't have to worry about editing it afterwards. I would just, it's very easy. I don't even have to post it because it is already posted. And so if I decided to just put these activities together. And that is when I started to have a problem because I actually do not like being seen without makeup. It's not like, I have many issues with it. It's just not my preference. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm always wearing makeup. I'm wearing makeup to go to the drugstore. And where I live, that is not necessarily, not a lot of people necessarily even wear makeup, which is fine. Everybody's supposed to do what they want to do, right? But it's like, it's not me. So there we have the rigidity already. I have like this perfect standard for myself, like, oh, if I'm seen, if I'm perceived, I have to be perfect. I cannot be seen having blemishes or skin texture like I'm a real person, right? Like that's not possible. And yeah, so there I had the rigidity about how I am allowed to be perceived. And I'm gonna look crazy, like this is gonna be super fun actually, and like a vulnerable moment for me. Like having you see me look so crazy, but this is what we're doing. Because I'm trying to set an example. There is a point to, you know, my meandering, my story. As I said, so I have realized I have this perfect standard for being seen. And then I also have a standard for how I want my videos to look, right? And you might not know that, because if you actually watch my videos, you'll see that like my visuals are crazy, like it's messed up, lighting is insane, because I do not pay too much attention to it. I have to be quiet for a moment. I'm not great at doing my eyebrows, so this is interesting. And so I have this standard for what I want my videos to be, which is mostly based on I need the content needs to be good, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here, waste your time just blabbering. Even if today is a bit more casual, you know, there has to be a point to what I'm doing, because I'm not going to waste your time, right? You're busy. And so I had this standard for what the video needed to be. Again, like a rigid plan. And then I had this rigid idea for when everything in my day was supposed to happen. Like, oh, I was supposed to finish working out by 9 a.m. And then everything was supposed to happen. And suddenly I was only finished by 11 a.m. So what to do? And if I was still in my old life, how I like to call it, you know, my old life of being this perfect academic and just having this super strict schedule, super strict plan that I could never, I don't know how to pronounce the verb. It's coming to my, you know, that I could never, it's a word with D. You know, I could never change the plan. Let's just say that. Deviate? I don't know. Please bear with me. English is like my third language or whatever. So, as I said, if I could never change the plan, then today I wouldn't be filming. Because I would be too busy, which is just an excuse, by the way, and I wouldn't be here, right? And as I said, I decided that's not gonna happen, because what I was really trying to do by being so rigid, right? By saying, okay, if I film a video, then it has to have the perfect thumbnail already, and it has to have the perfect script, and it has to have the perfect hook, and I need to be doing it at the perfect time, and I need to be looking perfectly, like my makeup needs to be done, hair needs to be done. What I'm really trying to do is I'm trying to be safe, right? Like, I'm trying to be safe. I'm trying to not let you see me struggle or fail. And I think that is what is really at the heart of a lot of rigidity, you know, to bring this back to you. I've been talking about myself. But to bring this back to you, if I don't know, maybe you're like me, you're a writer, and so you're writing a novel, and by the way, I don't see the chat, so if anybody's been saying anything, I don't see it, I'm sorry, but I will read it as soon as I can. So let's say you are a writer, like me, you are aspiring to write a novel, and you actually have an outline already, you have an idea, you have your character arcs, you have character bios, maybe you've done like some exercises to get into your characters and stuff, but you haven't actually started to write. And that used to be me, right? Like, I've always been a writer. Like, literally, when I was 6 years old, I was writing fan fiction about these, like, they're these sock puppets that you use to learn how to read, and my mom tells me that I used to actually write fan fiction about them. Like, she doesn't know the term fan fiction, but whatever, right? So that's how I get started. So since childhood, I've had this drive to write. And I did write as a child and even as a teenager, but somehow as a young adult I lost it. And instead of writing, I planned writing. Like, I made outlines, I had story ideas, but I didn't actually do much writing. I mean, that's not true. I did do some writing, but I wasn't consistent in it, okay? Like, I wasn't really doing much. I was thinking about writing a lot, but I wasn't doing it. And I wasn't doing it, as I said, because I was so afraid of doing it wrong, of doing it imperfectly, of seeing myself fail. Like, I wasn't even sharing it with anyone else. I was scared of seeing myself fail. So, again, to bring it back to you, I like to speak from my own experience, you know, that's why I'm always like talking about myself. To bring it back to you, if you do that, if you plan a novel, and this is just an example, obviously it applies to a lot of things. It can also be like you're um, planning to do a YouTube channel or a podcast are examples I often use, but it could really be anything. I'm not very creative with these things, but I don't know. Maybe you're trying to fix up an old car that you have, like from your grandfather or whatever. I don't know what people like to do for fun. And as I said, you've been thinking about it, planning it, but you're afraid of messing it up. And there are so many reasons why we're afraid of messing up. I did make a have a long live stream around that the other day. Like it's called people who take action versus people who don't, where I talk about how not taking action is most of the time not because you're lazy, but because you are afraid of messing it up, afraid of confronting some emotions you're trying to repress. Maybe you don't feel safe messing up. That's the case for a lot of people, including myself. Especially if you had like a lot of trauma in your life, then you are likely, like if you had like a lot of trauma in your life and you're someone who identifies as being like an overachiever, so you're like always super busy, you're always doing like a bunch of stuff, but somehow you're not getting to what you actually want to do, like your passion project, then that might very much be you, that you're like locked in a flight response. I talk about that a lot. So I'm just taking a look at my notes. Genau, so, sorry, random German. So you are, as I said, worried about messing it up because you don't want to look stupid, you don't want to like ruin the project or whatever. And I think it's like this ruining the project stuff that's most insidious, because the truth is you can never ruin anything. Okay? Like you can't ruin it, even if you do it imperfectly. You're not gonna ruin it. Like it's not gonna be this perfectly polished diamond the first time around, maybe. But that doesn't mean it's ruined. Because, oh my god. I just put like blush where I didn't want to put it. What am I doing? See, this is the perfect, like, what was I just saying? Like, I was saying, oh, you can mess it up now, I'm messing up my makeup. No, but see, I could just, it's okay. I just removed it and now it's okay. Let me take a sip of coffee, oh my god. Let me calm down a bit. I'm nervous, as I said. This is new to me. Actually, let me just get my hair out of my face, because it's kind of difficult. As I said, you can't really mess things up. Like even if you, for example, with the novel I'm writing right now, it's in the first draft. I'm like almost 90,000 words in. And it's definitely not perfect. Like before I started it, I had a lot of ideas about what I was gonna get into, and some of that I've done and a lot of that I haven't done yet. And that's completely fine. You know why? Because this is just the first draft. Like I get to, like it's the minimum viable minimum viable product, right? So basically what that means is that it's the smallest possible version of what it needs to be, so I can continue working with it. It's like it's just a prototype essentially. And I think for a lot of us perfectionists, overachievers, I'm just lumping you into that group now. I think for a lot of us, we think that we need to be doing it absolutely perfectly the first time around. And that is why we make rigid plans, because we're trying to control every single variable so that this first product is also the perfect product. But that's not really how creativity works. Like maybe with a few things, you know, like maybe with a few very gifted artists, they're able to, I don't know, like sit down, record a song in one setting and it's perfect and that's how it's published. But I think for the vast majority of us who are creatives, and even if you don't think of yourself as a creative, like if you're a human being, you are creative because you create. And you can create, and creativity is so inherently healing to us humans and important. What was I saying? As I said, for a lot of us creatives, we struggle with seeing the unpolished version of what we are doing. And I think a lot of that comes down to not trusting the process. You know, like thinking, oh, if it's not absolutely perfect now, it's never gonna be up to my standards. And it's also got a lot to do with a lack of self-trust. Because what you're really saying when you make a super rigid plan for a project, especially when you haven't even started it, is that you do not trust yourself and you do not trust the world that you will be able to create this unless you control everything. And I have like very bad news for you. And I'm saying this with a lot of compassion because that totally used to be me. Like I used to be such a control freak, it's insane. Um, but like the perfect plan is gonna crash, right? I don't know. Like if you play pen and paper, for example, like Dungeons and Dragons, then there's like the saying that, you know, the plan, the DM, the dungeon master, so the person who leads the group, the plan that person makes is gonna hold up essentially until first contact with the player group, right? Because then they're gonna be doing something totally different from what you expected, and suddenly everything's going off the rails. And so, if you have like a very strict idea of what you're trying to do, you might not be the most popular with your player group, and also you're gonna be pissed off because they're gonna be destroying all your plans. And that's essentially like we're essentially railroading ourselves and our creative projects when we say, "Oh, I know my internet was gone." I so hope that everything that you, I so hope that you could still hear me. But I was saying, like, if I were to take absolute minimum a YouTube video needs to deliver. It's not visuals. It's not like crazy, you know, editing or whatever. At least not in my niche or whatever you want to call it, right? Education and personal development. What it needs to deliver is content. It needs to deliver, you know, you have a problem or there's something you want to discuss, and I believe I can add something to this. And then telling you about what I think in like a semi-coherent way. That's the minimum it needs to deliver. The same way I would be if I recorded the video. But actually, and here's the real interesting part. Um, wait, I just baited you, but I can just use that to set my makeup for a moment. Actually, I would argue that by doing this live, this video will be better than if I had scripted it. Because what I've realized, and it's so annoying that the internet just keeps breaking. Like the internet in my house is... Oh my god, I'm so sorry for the Oh my god, I'm so sorry for the internet breaking. I was just saying it's really annoying to have terrible internet when you're a content creator. So I'm just on my mobile data right now, and I hope it will work. And we were talking about self-trust, at least I hope that you caught that. And I was saying that this is an exercise in self-trust. What the hell am I doing? This is terrible. See, so much for messing up. I swear I'm usually better at this, but it's maybe stage fright. Or maybe this is just supposed to illustrate my point. Because, as you can see, I totally messed up my wing. But it's okay, because I get to fix it. Just like if I decided, oh, you know, I completely messed up this live stream, or my internet messed up this live stream, I can just re-watch it, and then I can re-record my thoughts, and it's gonna be okay. It could be a draft too. And I could delete this, and no one would ever know what the hell am I doing. This is... continues being bad, but as I was saying about self-trust, I have to trust. I have to trust that I will finish this eyeliner so that I can do my nails, so that I can leave my house today. And just like I'm trying to trust my ability to do this, you have to trust in your ability that you can do your project even if you do not have the perfect plan. Even if you break the plan. Even if you have to improvise sometimes. I think I might actually just... no, eyeliner is completely different. You know what, I'm just gonna fix this later. I'm just gonna fix this after the live stream, actually. And just focus on my nails now. Like, you have to develop self-trust that that you will do it. And the irony is that the more rigid your plan is, so the less ability you have to pivot. For example, as I said, like, no, like, let's not always talk about me. For example, you are planning to record your first podcast episode today, and then something happens, you're a bit sick, so you wake up later, so suddenly you can't do it. Or you have to stay later at work, and so you can't do it. And, if you had only a very narrow window of recording, then suddenly, yeah, that window is gonna vanish. Like, it's gonna be gone because life is never perfect. Like, circumstances in life will never be perfect. You will never be perfect. You will get sick. Your kid will get sick. Your friend will need you. Your boss needs you to stay longer, and suddenly your life is passing you by. But if you decide, okay, I'm gonna trust myself that I will do this, you know, and I will trust myself that I will do it even if it's not perfect, right? As I said, for the podcast episode, I don't do podcasts, so I don't know what would be the best example. But I don't know, maybe you don't need to be having the perfect podcast intro for the very first episode, and maybe obviously your audio should have some quality, but maybe you don't need like the super pro microphone for starting, right? Um, and maybe you don't need the perfect script, especially if you have like a guest actually on your podcast. But maybe you need to rather focus on your ability to attune to your guests than to talk to them. So that would be like the minimum viable uh, product standards. And then you will have to trust your ability to record the episode and to do it again. Because what I was saying earlier about not trusting yourself, let me just actually start with my nails while I'm doing this. Uh, like your inability to trust yourself. No, that's not a good start to a sentence. Like it will the more rigid your plan is, the less likely you are to stick to your plan, and the more your self trust will deteriorate because you're not keeping your promises to yourself. And so you're kind of like in this very vicious cycle of over promising and under delivering. And the more you do that, the more you want to over promise because now you're like, oh my god, I've messed up before. I need to make up for lost time, and it will get worse and worse. So I don't know if I can like I'm trying to make this more like, for example, if let's say if I was struggling to build a workout routine, right? And so I would be like, okay, I'm gonna get up every single day at 6 a.m. and I'm gonna work out for an hour, and immediately afterwards I have to leave for work, and that's the only window I have. And then the day comes, and or maybe you do it for a few days, maybe it works, and then the third day comes, and suddenly you've overslept because your kid was sick last night, or you were sick, or maybe you just were scrolling on your phone because you're human. So suddenly it's 7 a.m. and you have to get up and you have to go to work. Or rather, it's 7 a.m. and you have time not for an hour of a workout, but you have time for 20 minutes. But because you're so married to the idea of, oh my god, I'm gonna do it every single day and I'm gonna do it for an hour, suddenly the idea of just doing it for 20 minutes feels like failure. And so what you do instead is for instead of working out for 20 minutes, you're debating with yourself. You're like, oh, but should I be doing it still? Is it worth it? You're beating yourself up because you didn't get up in time. And what ends up happening is you don't do it, so you don't work out at all, and you feel bad about it, right? So the next day comes, and what happens? Like, you're like, oh my god, why am I doing this? I might as well stay in bed. I'm not going to keep my promise anyway. So, and as I said, the more you do that, the more your self trust will deteriorate, and the less you will actually be able to stick to your plans. And that is why self trust is really like the core of everything. Because I can sometimes struggle with keeping my workouts because I struggle with chronic illness. So it's pretty hard for me to be as consistent as I would like to be because the truth is I often get hit with a migraine and then I can't work out for 3 days. Or yesterday I was planning to work out yesterday evening, but then I got like a tension headache. And I thought, oh my god, if I work out with a tension headache in this heat, I will get a migraine and I won't be able to work out for the rest of the week. So that is why, this entire thing I told you at the beginning started, that I decided, why don't I just get up earlier so I can work out then? I was a bit more flexible in my plan. I wasn't like, okay, I'm gonna work out today no matter what comes, no matter the consequences, and it has to happen in the evening. Like, it is my preference to do it, but it doesn't mean it has to happen, and it doesn't mean I have to work out for an hour. It is my preference, but for example, tomorrow is supposed to be a very hot day here, and like I plan to work out for an hour, but it could happen that I work out for 20 minutes, and that has to be okay because I got the minimum viable product of working out, of moving my body. But if I don't, like, if I keep over promising and under delivering, then eventually I will just stop. Eventually I'll say, this isn't worth it. I'm not doing this. I'm not believing myself that I will do this. Yeah, that's and that's that point. I'm looking at my notes whether there's anything else, but if there's anyone in the chat who has any thoughts about this, or like comments, like, is there anything you're struggling with working on, um, please let me know, and I will try to figure out how to see the chat. And I'm waiting for a moment now because there is a delay. I know there is a delay, and I want to give you a chance to respond. Now make up your thoughts. This is a bit rambly, but as I said, it is very spontaneous. And I think I'm again, in every single video, it feels like I'm proving my point of just get it out, don't get it out perfectly, because all my videos are so messed up. I don't even know if you can properly hear me. I hope you can, but I've never live streamed before. And maybe that's like an extra point about how do I say this? I'm thinking of the best way to say it. Maybe that's an extra point about the rigidity of plans, because you are basically, if you're very rigid in your planning and trying to control every variable, you probably also have problems with not doing something well. Like, forget perfectly, right? Maybe you are aware that perfect is a standard you can't hold, but you are you're not even willing to do something bad. And again, I have sad news for you, but whenever you're starting something, it's gonna be bad. And the only way through something, the only way through not doing it badly is doing it badly and doing it so often that it becomes a habit. Which is again with the live streaming. Like, if my goal is to, if my focus is on my, for example, public speaking skills, my ability to get my point across without the perfect script, then I don't learn that by just making videos with the perfect script. Like, I learned that by making videos like this one, where I'm just talking based on a few notes, and see where it takes me and see whether it resonates. And that's not to say that, as I said, it's a skill you build. Uh, so I'm not saying, oh, you should just be okay with complete rambles. But, mm, like, for example, when I was still teaching bachelor students, like, there was the first class I taught, right? Like, there was the first time I stood in front of a class of students, and I was supposed to teach them, and nobody had given me any formal teaching training. And I couldn't have learned what I learned uh, without actually going through that, like, without actually teaching and like bombing some sessions, really nailing other sessions, building that connection with my students, building trust in myself that I could hold the attention of a room, that I could break down complex subject matter and make it approachable for people. Like, that self trust only came from doing it. And you are by sticking to a rigid plan, you are really robbing yourself of that ability to learn. And I get it because learning is scary, right? Um, Pretty sure we've all had that experience in life where we didn't do something perfectly and we got shamed for it or we got humiliated. Like depending on what childhood you had. Like I'm from a Slavic immigrant working class family, so you know, if you are Slavic, then you know what I'm talking about when it comes to emotional sensitivity and emotional support for understanding the child needs when they mess up. Mm, that is not specifically my culture's strength, I would say. Mm, so I learned from a very young age that messing up wasn't okay. Mm, and I learned that if I messed up, I would be punished. If I had any emotions for messing up, I wouldn't receive support. And that is very scary as a child because as a child, you want your caregiver's love, you want their attention, you want their support. It is a very biological need, so if you do not receive that, then it can feel like a survival threat. Uh, like inherently, we know we are unsafe if our caregivers do not like us. And so if we learn that if we mess up, they will not like us, then we learn to overcompensate. We learn to make plans. We learn to control every single variable so that we do not get into this vulnerable, uncomfortable situation of being seen messing up. And that is truly, I think, what is behind 90% of rigid plans for projects. Like, if you feel that you cannot start, if you do not know steps A, B, C, D, and E, then because you do not feel safe starting, you do not feel safe messing up, you do not feel safe figuring it out on the way. And I can really relate to that. As I said, it's like it goes much deeper than perfectionism, right? I've said that before. I believe that the conversation about perfectionism is so superficial because so often it is portrayed as if perfectionism is simply like an ego thing. It's not. Like, it's not just about superficial insecurity, it's about feeling that if you are not perfect, there's a threat to your survival. And when you feel that there is a threat to your survival, like your nervous system goes into survival mode. And suddenly you cannot access your rational thoughts. Suddenly you cannot tell yourself, oh, like I can post this life and it's gonna be imperfect, but it's fine, I'm not gonna die. Like suddenly your brain is gonna start producing all kinds of ways you're gonna die if you mess up. So if that's something you struggle with, as I said, I used to be that. Like, I used to be there. Like, I can really empathize. If that is something you struggle with, then and there is a project you are trying to get off the ground, right? There's a passion project that's been on your heart and you haven't been able to get to it because you there's like some blockages. Like, you have the plan, you're not doing the plan. You have the plan, but thoughts pop up, or you feel frozen in your body, or you keep yourself busy with everything else but not your project. Like, if that's something you do struggle with, I do offer one-on-one coaching. I offer a specific package called Jumpstart Your Passion Projects, right? Jumpstart Your Passion Project. And right now it's on a launch special for $111 for a 90-minute session and email follow-up. And in that session, we look at your blockages. Like, we look at what have you planned so far, what have you done so far, what hasn't worked, and then we make a plan for your life, right? Because truth is, we are all busy. We all have varying energy levels. As I said, I do struggle with chronic illness, so I know that it's not always as easy as, oh, just making the plan and then nothing changes. I mean, that's my point, right? You need to be flexible in your plans. For you to succeed. So as I said, if that's something you would like guidance on, like looking at what didn't work before, why it didn't work, making an action plan, building a system for your life, and then starting you off, then please check out the link. I will post it in the description box. And yeah, otherwise, I hope you got something from this. If anything, it was practice for me. If anything, it was practice for me to practice what I preach. And yeah, I just hope you have a good day. And I'll see you next one. Bye.